first instinct I had when I read that, the first thing that came to mind is, man, I'm going to miss Michael. He's a good. I liked him. Second thing that came to mind is, I didn't even know about Bruce Brown yet. Did not know about it. This team is better. This team is better. And I'll go into detail about why they're better. There's many reasons why they're better. If you're sitting out there today, and I know they still have pieces to fill. They still have roster spots to fill.
And
if you're wondering what this does to the Denver Nuggets, I'm telling you, before anything else is done, and more is to be happening, by the way, they are a better team today. And we'll go into full detail why.
So just quickly, Moj,
do you want to know my reaction?
Yes.
I said, holy.
Well, about which one? The trade initially?
The trade initially.
Okay.
This is before I knew about Brucey B.
Yeah.
Holy Farkas soup bowls. A Farkas. You're now becoming a thing on this show. I hope you like it. Enjoy your jerseys. Holy Farkas soup bowls. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, wait, they got. Listen, I'm going to miss Mike. But this is a really big deal because you get Cam Johnson, and I'm going to miss MPJ and everything about him. His shooting, his scoring, his rebounding. He's a much better rebounder than we give him credit for. So you're going to lack in that department a little bit.
I'll talk about Michael in a second. I think, but Moj, here's the key to me. Here's what the Nuggets were. There are rich people that are not. They're not liquid. They have assets that make them rich, but if you say, can I have $50,000, they don't have $50,000.
Right. I heard you on the way in, and you're correct about that.
The Nuggets were that. They were a rich person that just couldn't do anything with their money because it was tied up in assets. And somehow yesterday, they remained rich, they remained the same amount of money, and they now have cash. Like, that's the most mind-blowing part, and I think that's part of why the first-rounder had to go to Brooklyn with it, was that you got a good player in Cam Johnson, but you also had the ability to spend money again. And what blew me away was this. They announced the trade, and shortly afterwards, they announced Bruce Brown. I go, they must have needed some cash to sign Bruce Brown, and then they get him for the minimum.
For the minimum.
Minimum.
Yeah.
The
crazy. Bruce Brown thing was not at all. That's mutually exclusive from the Cam Johnson thing. They were going to do Bruce Brown no matter what. But you made a good point there, and let me tell you, the Nuggets got richer by becoming poorer, if it makes any sense. By getting under that apron, and I don't know how long they'll remain under the apron. They may go right back into it here. By getting under that apron, the financial flexibility it afforded them and still affords them right now is it really opens up a new frontier.
Vic, again, this is the way I look at it. You ever play pinball?
Sure.
Okay, then if you hit a certain thing, then you unlock more balls or what. By getting down, they unlocked all kinds of possibilities.
Yeah.
It's counterintuitive, I know. Hey, we spent less bread, but we've unlocked a lot more possibilities to spend bread. It doesn't make any sense, but that's exactly what happened.
Okay, so let me answer a couple questions. I've gotten these over the last 24 hours. Why didn't the Nuggets do this at the trade deadline? 2 reasons, and one is a big reason. Number one, I think they were still sort of, do we have something here? Can we make one more run? They came close. Okay. All right. That was that. Number 2, the Brooklyn Nets would not part with Cam Johnson unless they got that first-round pick in return. They wanted that first-round pick in return. Well, the Denver Nuggets unlocked that first-round pick. What was the 2032?
Yeah, so, Vic, what do you say about a 2032 first-round pick? What do you care?
Yeah, I don't care about future generations.
I don't give a rat's rip either. You know what?
If you're 8 years old, I don't care about you.
If the world is still spinning in 2032, it'll be a miracle. Screw it.
Yeah, I hate to be blunt like that, but I don't care about you. I care about me right now. Okay? I care about me and this team in the Joker Prime era. What happens when he's 37 years old? That's your problem.
Dude, we're going to be in Sardinia. We're going to be in
Sun
Sardinia.
City.
We're going to be living in a hut.
I'll be gone.
In Sardinia. It won't even matter. Correct.
I don't care about you. I care about now. So that's number one. Number 2, they could not unlock that draft pick until the new calendar year.
Yep.
Do you understand this? So it's not like they had that draft pick waving around in February. because of the NBA regulations, and you cannot trade a first-round pick every year. You have to do it every other year. They were already indebted with first-round pick trades that they've used for other deals. That was not at their hand tip. That they didn't have it available. So now it's available, and they can do the deal, and they did it in the first hour of free agency. Cam Johnson, what does he give you? I think Cam Johnson is Michael Porter Jr., but better. And I don't want to say bad things about Michael because I love the guy. I've told you guys what I felt about the guy. Accountable, accommodating, works his ass off. I think he's a warrior. He's the only basketball player in NBA history to have played the game with 2 back surgeries and drop foot. Look it up. There's nobody that's ever done that before. And played 81 of 82 in one season. The guy makes himself available. He played with a bad shoulder. I will love what he brought to this team. He was a key member of a championship squad. Everything about him. Cam Johnson, in my humble opinion, is just a little bit better. Only because he does everything else better, including defense.
Yeah. And he's a 39% shooter on volume, by the way. He averaged 7
makes
threes
nearly
a game.
half the price.
Yeah.
He's not only a little bit better, but he's making $20 million as opposed to $39 million.
He is I'd agree with everything that you just said. I still have reservations just because your starting 5 was already good. Like, it's when you have something that was championship caliber and then you're like, is this going to be better? My response is always going to be, I don't know, because it's really hard to get better from already that level good. But I do think that Vic's right about this. Everything seems like he's better, especially in the defensive category. I would caution one thing surrounding Cam Johnson. Cam Johnson is, if you had concerns about Porter's health, Cam hasn't played more than 58 games in 3 years. He has missed at least 24 games in each of the last 3 seasons. So there is some injury stuff that happens with him, just as a word of caution for people out there. But as far as game consistency, Vic, I think he's a gamer that brings the same sort of thing every night.
That's the irony of this deal. The fear for the Nuggets going into any trade scenario with Michael Porter Jr. would be that they're unable to unload him given his trade history, his injury history, his health issues, his lower back, all that stuff. But it's the guy they're getting in return who's missed more games than Michael Porter Jr. on a season-by-season basis. I'll say this. I still cannot believe that the Denver Nuggets were able to unload that contract. And I mean that with all due respect. Because I just couldn't even envision putting Michael through a physical. I don't know how many physicals he'll pass.
Yeah. Well, you were doing your little video yesterday, which I thought was kind of funny, waiting for your daughter to get a dress. You said backs and shoulders and drop foots, and I'm like, oh, God. This guy's had a lot, talking about MPJ, that I guess I tend to forget about, or I try to forget about because I'm begging him to stay healthy. But, since really the back surgeries, guys, he's fought through a lot and played through a lot of pain.
And not just health. What people, I'm not forgetting it, and I'm sure you don't
was
forget
his brother's situation,
The situation with this family, I think, has weighed so heavily on him. And the ability, guys, I don't know if we remember this accurately. The Denver Nuggets won an NBA championship in obviously the most challenging year mentally of Michael Porter Jr.'s young life.
Doubt.
They won an NBA championship in a year in which one brother went to jail, another brother was about to be suspended for life, ejected from the NBA for betting issues, another brother the guy has gone through some family duress, mental duress. He overcame all that, still played basketball like a pro. And again, you will not get me to say anything bad about Michael Porter Jr. today. I love everything about the guy. I've had deep conversations with him about philosophy, about his back. He gave me a book about back issues, for crying out loud. He read this book and said it changed his life. Now, it didn't change mine, but it changed his.
I'll just say one thing quickly on the Porter stuff because I want to focus more on the here, the now, and what this team is going to look like moving forward. But just quickly, I'm glad you mentioned that, Vic, because I did the same thing earlier, but I'm going to say this again. The thing that I respect the most about Michael Porter Jr., and think what you want of him as a player or his game or whatever, Porter was somebody that, first of all, was the ultimate team guy. He had no problem at the end of a game if somebody said, hey, we need to put this guy in for defense in crunch time. He'd be like, you know what? If you feel like that's best, then go ahead and do it. Ultimate teammate. For all the stuff that he had in his life, whether that means the back, the drop foot, the shoulder last year in the postseason, the situation with both of his brothers, family stuff. You know what I never heard Michael Porter Jr. say? Yeah, this stuff's bothering me. You know what he said? Even when he's wearing a diaper on his shoulder, couldn't get his own jersey off. What he said in the postseason this last year and multiple times in the years before that, I got to be better. Never used anything as an excuse once, when very obviously he could, right? Hey, Mike, why aren't you shooting as well? Mm-hmm. I don't know. Have you seen this thing on my shoulder? Yeah. I don't know. My brother just went to prison for a while. I don't know. My other brother just got suspended.
Kicked out of the league, yeah.
Once did he say anything other than, I got to do better.